So you got bikes in the background, dude. Oh, you went silent. Did you hit mute?
Wait, you muted. What did you say?
I said, I see bikes in the background, dude. And then you turned to your man and he waved to me, but I couldn't hear
Oh
him.
yeah, I said you can see Taylor, and then so
I'd say, what's up, Taylor? But he can't hear me because you have your headphones on.
yeah, he said, "What's up, Taylor?" So he says, "What's up?"
Can you ask him to put a shirt on for this podcast?
I think you would get more viewers if he kept his shirt off.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about Hyrox.
Yeah, let's do it.
So my understanding, Hunter, Kempson, these guys are like, hey, have you heard of this thing? It's coming to America. It's going to be amazing. Blah, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. So I reached out to them, the Hyrox people. We talked about me going to an event. It didn't work out. But they definitely got their hands on a lot of OCR people. So who reached out to you, or how did you hear about it initially?
I heard about it through Yancey. He messaged me, he told me all about it, and I was like, oh shit, this sounds like right up my alley. So went on their website, and I was like, yeah, I'll do it. Like, it was just pretty instant like that. It seemed like the perfect culmination of CrossFit and endurance, and that's exactly how I've been training. So I didn't really give it a second thought as to like, why wouldn't I do that, you know?
That's great. So do you know, did they, like, I assume they paid for Hunter to be there, but did they bring anybody else over, or did everybody else fly on their own
I
dime?
I flew on my own dime, but they covered my entry, which was nice.
Right.
But yeah, I definitely paid for it
But you
myself.
don't
I
know,
thought,
about the other people, whether they did or
no,
they didn't.
no.
So one of the things you mentioned to me ahead of time was that you guys were doing it at the same time as open waivers, which makes zero sense for them
Yeah.
to, if anything needs a specific time, it's something where you've got all these people doing it for funsies or just to compete against themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like, have they always done it that way? Did you guys ask? Like, it just seems weird.
Yeah, no, it was definitely weird. And so I knew that we got sent our wave times ahead of time and in the email. And so I saw that the pros, like when I looked at the schedules, like the pro heats were last. I was like, oh, that's strange. Like, because the way it's set up, it's a single lap, and you have to run it 2.5 times before and after each workout. And so you're on the court, like, it's not like they were going to wait until all the open waves ahead of us were like finished. I mean, it's an hour plus workout it's an hour for Hunter, but for everyone else, it's, I mean, at least like an hour 15, an hour 30. So that didn't make any sense to me. And I was like, wait, are we going to be running like with all the heats that are going before us, which is pretty much everyone else? And Yancey told me that usually they have a fast lap or fast lane for the pros, but they forgot or they just didn't implement it this time. So that was pretty frustrating. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, you mean you're trying to do your laps as fast as possible. And so if you're on that inside, if you can't be on the inside lane, like I was constantly saying on your left, or just like kind of rudely nudging my way between people. Cause I mean, you're trying to race and you've got Joe Schmo just kind of,
Right. And this isn't like
sauntering.
a Spartan where there's like a giant A-frame that you can probably go around. This is
Right.
a
It's a narrow track.
a narrow effing workout.
Yeah. Even if they did have the fast lane, honestly, I don't know how that would work either, because the girls went first, 10 minutes later, the guys heat went, and we're just all together. Oops, sorry. So I don't understand how, like, I think there were only a couple hundred racers at this race, but I think they're trying to obviously grow it. And I think in Europe they have like a couple thousand. So I have no idea how that structure would work.
It just seems like such a basic fix. Like, okay, elites
Right.
go first.
Right.
Like, that just seems like such a no-brainer. Or regular in the morning, you guys in the afternoon when the course is clear, or at least mostly clear. It just seems like, again, even more so than OCR because of the narrowness. And then around the workouts, like when you got to, like, say, I don't know, the wall balls or whatever, was there at least free wall balls, or you have to wait for them? Or like,
I will give them that. Like, there was never, at least that I experienced, there was never like a bottleneck for machines or stations, just because they had it rolling. So like I think with the separation heat times was enough to allow the heat ahead of you to at least get through the station, you know, that you're going into beforehand, like, or quick enough. So like, I don't think bottleneck was ever an issue. But again, like this was a small event for them, I think. And I know that they're trying to grow that. And so I just don't know how that structure will look when it takes off a little bit more. The crazy thing was, not the crazy thing, but, you count your own laps and you had to run. So
What?
Yeah. So I'm not bashing on them at all, but there were definitely things where it's like, okay, like,
wait a minute. So I could count. Okay, hang on.
Okay, hold on. Let me explain. So you enter in, so it's a track. Think of like 1,000-meter track essentially, but they have like fenced basically. So on the outside is where you're doing all the running. You always enter the inner track, which is where all the workouts are, from one side. You always run in there and you always exit on the other side. So when you exit, you have to run past 1, 2, and then on the third time you go in. But honestly, there were times where I was like, oh shit, do I go in on the next one, or do I go in now, or do I go in one more? And because there's so many waves going off, and like the volunteers have no idea who's with what wave. So you could go in, and then you just, I think the timers count or have some way of tracking how many laps you do. So if you do accidentally go in earlier, you get a automatic 5-minute time penalty added to your overall race time. So like, it sounds like they have a method.
Like you can't, right. So they would go back and find out that you cheated, but it certainly would suck if you miscounted
Right.
on that scenario.
Yeah, but it's so easy to, because you're doing that you're doing 2.5 laps, 8 different times. You're exhausted. You can't remember. It's a freaking long time running. Like, honestly,
it also seems like a pretty harsh penalty. Like, how long would it take you to go all the way around?
Well, because most of the laps, like doing the 2.5 laps, was taking like between 3 and 4 minutes.
Right. So why not make it a 2-minute penalty? Whereas even if you cut it, you're still punished, but not so much that it destroys you. But if you do it more than once, maybe it's more. I don't know. It seems like it's a simple fix especially with Elite, that you have 2 people stationed there and they have like little check boxes.
Yeah.
So that, coming through, they have to, you know what I mean? That seems like that's easily fixable.
Well, and they said like there was a board with our names on it so that we could check as we're running around, and like if we've completed the amount of laps we necessary. I never saw that. I don't know if I just wasn't looking, but I never saw a board.
Well, speaking of which, where are you on the board now, Corinna?
So I finally got an email from Hyrox just before I actually answered this call. And so they were like, we're really sorry that you weren't showing up on the results. I can pull up here too. But they were like, we want to personally apologize as you've not been in the official rankings on our website till now. We had issues with the system as the internet went down at some point of the race, causing a disconnection of the timing shift.
Nice. Yeah, definitely the internet's fault.
As it went back up, the chips reconnected, but unfortunately not all of them were picked up in the final ranking. But it was so weird because...
So wait, we still don't know what place you're in?
No. So I'm in 5th. Like I checked and everything. Like I will give them credit. Like the chip system, like I go in and it tells me how long it took me to do the farmer's carry, the row, the ski, so I can see how terrible my splits were. And you also have a ranking, so I know like how fast, like between all the girls in my in the heat, like what place I came in on the ski erg or on the sled push, which on the sled push I was 10th place. It took me 8 minutes and 56 seconds, and it was like the longest sled push out of everyone. So yeah. But anyway, so they have a very intricate chip system, but yeah, it just sucks that you have to rely on like, you know, counting your own laps.
Do you want to say anything about the sled?
Yeah. I mean, again, like I wasn't the only one slipping up. This one girl beside me, she and I were both struggling big time. And she was one of the German girls, or maybe she was one of the Sweden girls, but she competed in the events. Like this was her 4th event. She said she's never had that issue at any of the events before, but she just pushed it. Like, so you had to go down 25 meters and back. She just pushed it like maybe 10 yards and she was like, I'll take the penalty. And then she took off. And I was thinking, I'm like, well, shit, I'd like to take the penalty too, but I don't think that's a thing. Like, I don't think you can just decide not to complete a workout station.
Well, that should be a 10-minute penalty. That should knock you out because you just saved yourself the physical exertion.
Well, yeah, so I didn't even I was like, oh, that's so strange. So she crossed the finish line before me. Like, she beat me. And she was like, oh, did you finish? Did you end up doing the whole sled? And I was like, yeah, I did. And then, I mean, she was really sweet, so I'm not like bashing her or anything. But then I told the Hyrox event organizer, I was like, because I looked her up I was looking at the results and I saw her name in there as like 4th or 5th place and I was 6th. And I was like, was her penalty? So she didn't do the whole sled push. He was like, oh, she didn't they didn't even have that as a penalty on her. So again, like, I just think like Listen, that needs to be definitely dialed in.
You're being super diplomatic, which I appreciate. I can be less than diplomatic and say that I'm rooting for these people.
Yeah.
These are not okay mistakes, especially when they're purporting themselves to be this like CrossFit next big thing.
Yeah.
And we're the shit. And here's this world record guy and he's so amazing. And you know what I mean? So it's slightly, so here's the thing about the sled, which I didn't know because I don't follow CrossFit, but I'm learning a lot mostly because I follow my man Arm & Hammer. And we were talking about like the thing with the ruck bags this year and how that was an issue.
Uh-huh.
And he said, Matt, every year that there's a sled drag, the people who are in the sunshine, okay, the sled gets caught on the turf, and the people who are in the shade where the dew is still wet slide like it's a fucking hockey rink. And he said it's every year. And every year the people in the shade have faster times, not just, remember, it's multiple waves. It's qualifying heats. And it's just like, oh, well. And it's like why they wouldn't like either throw that obstacle out or change it to a different time of day. But it's just interesting that the sled in particular is an issue that's come up at the games. And so I know you're not making excuses and I'm not making excuses for you. I'm just saying clearly the sled has its issues and it needs to be,
well, the crazy thing is, or like what I'm trying to wrap my head around for doing another, like a future Hyrox event is that when I practiced in the warm up area, they had a little strip of carpet for us to all of the carpet turf that they used for the sled push. And they had 2 sleds out there and I practiced it and it was totally fine. Like my grip felt good. Everyone was saying, oh, you make sure you try it out so you know what shoes to bring. And I was like, try it out. I was like, perfect. This is great. And so I don't know if like having, because it was rolled out for the sled push and pull. So it was a massive carpet and there were weights on either side. I don't know if any of that kind of dynamic or just the fact that it was in this convention center like had to do with it. But it was like I went to push and I've done plenty of sled pushes. So it's not like a form thing. Like Taylor was asking me like, well, were you pushing it right? Like, yeah, I pushed. I tried everything. I tried up high. I tried down low. I tried all in between. I took my shoes off. I took my socks off.
High is bad, by the way.
High. Well, so the only way I finished, I had to pick it up high. The sled is a rectangle and it slides. It's on all fours. I had to lift it up so that it was like a wheelbarrow and it was bouncing on the very edge, the front edge. And I pushed it if it had any sharp edges, it would have cut the entire carpet. Cause that's the only way I could get it to go and not have my feet slide out. Cause I needed to be up more on top of it because if the lower I got, the more my feet spun out from under me. So I had to do it. I had to lift it up. And
typically low is good.
Typically.
And I am not a first world-class athlete, but I realize from there's a scientific term I'm looking for that I can't think of, but
yes, I don't even know it either, but I got.
Here's a thing.
I know what you're saying.
Low, good. High is like you're fighting against. High is fighting against it, unless you have to lift the whole thing up like a wheelbarrow, which you should definitely not have to do. Well, listen, let's trust that they'll work on some of this stuff again.
Yeah.
I'm just surprised because, again, this isn't some mom and pop organization. They've done these events in other countries already. There has been a lot of hype. You know, I know they were trying to get games athletes. Have you heard of? And there was also an entire like doubles division, which I had no idea was a thing. And is that just everybody does it together, or what was the difference with the doubles division?
Yeah, I think they went off in a different heat. I don't know. Like Taylor and I he was asking, he was like, oh, isn't there like a male female, option? But I think they went off in their own heat. Like they had their own doubles heat. So, and they did the separate rules briefing and whatnot beforehand. So yeah, I'm not sure like how much weight that has. It seemed like doing the pro heat was probably like, it's kind of like age group versus pro heat, like, which they did have age group too. But I just feel like, for me, I definitely want to do the individual stuff. It seems like, that's kind of where the main contenders are.
How long did the sled take you?
8 minutes and 56 seconds.
And what did other people do it in?
Whereas it took, I'm on the results page now. It took Imka, who's tiny. She's probably 110. I'm 135. Like I have weight on this girl. She did the sled push in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. She just cruised. Like she had and I'm like, there is no way that she can push a sled faster, like this heavy ass sled faster.
Right. And so you lost to her by 9 minutes.
Yeah.
And you lost to fourth place by 4 minutes, third place by 6 minutes. So
I had a little bit of a pity party for myself, not gonna lie. After that, like
I'm just pointing out that your sled screwed you. That's all. That you had that one bad obstacle or whatever you can really screw you.
Yeah, and it's hard too because like then I was running by myself. I know it's like a circular lap, but like the girls were leaving the workout station, the next workout station I had to go to as I was running.
You were being lapped.
Yeah. And so like, it's hard, obviously in that kind of format, you don't have anyone to like chase after. And I knew like there weren't that many competitive girls. I mean, there's probably like, a handful of us. So I knew that I was ahead of the girls who were just way struggling, but it's hard to know how close you were. And honestly, till the wall balls, like, and I know the guys, like that was really a game changer, but it's right at the very end. But like, Faye I think she told me she had like 75 seconds on Laura, the girl who came in, Lauren came in second, Lauren Weeks. And she, Lauren was able to crush those wall balls and pass, her at the very end. So I think it was kind of cool to have the wall balls at the very end. I will say what's BS is that they have buckets for the wall balls. And if you can't squat below parallel, then you get to go to a bucket and you only have to do a wall ball and squat down to touch the bucket, which is way higher than parallel. And so they said, yeah, so we have your judges and they're like, yeah, if your judge no reps you, keeps no repping you, there's buckets out there. You can grab one and use the bucket.
What does that mean, use the bucket?
It means that's your new standard for squat depth, which for the girls, that is like inches below of being, parallel. So I think Faye used, I wasn't there because I was still running the race, but I know like Faye has difficulty with getting below parallel. And so I think that was something to cater towards people who, it's like, if you
can't scale a pro workout.
No, you can't.
You can scale it for everybody else.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's the whole thing with CrossFit is, different things.
You can't do the movement standard. You need to learn how to do the movement standard. And until then, you're just shit out of luck. It's like right? That's an athletic movement.
More disappointing. That's more disappointing than the running with the open waivers to me, honestly.
Yeah, that was honestly.
I mean, here's a simple sentence. You can't scale a pro wave, like period. No. You can do the movement or you can't do the movement.
Right. And if you get no reps, you get a bunch of no reps, then you got to do singles. I don't know. But like that was really that was disappointing to me because you can't, again, it's taking the standards and making them easier for people who can't meet them, as opposed to just being like, hey, this is our guidelines, and if you can't do it, then you gotta.
Yeah, and they're not going to get games athletes if they do that. Like they're gonna be like, this is bullshit.
Totally. I was like, should I get it was totally against what I would ever do, in my training. So I wasn't even going to contemplate it. But like in the beginning, I when I heard that, I was like, well, how much time is that going to take off of wall balls if I do squat to a bucket? And like, would that be in my, if that's what the girls ahead of me are using, like, do I do that? So I don't know.
Well, let's talk a little bit about training, because the way, my assumption, again, I'm learning a lot as this goes on. My assumption is, games athletes, or people who want to be games athletes, people who make it to what used to be regionals and then the games, are like, okay, here's what's usually thrown at us. We're going to try to train as well as we can and all these things, knowing that it could change. Right. And that this year was a little bit different, but then like that last workout ended up being something that everybody knows supposedly all the time. So how does one go through programming for yourself, for someone who, like, you're obviously, or are you still training for the games? And then like, okay, well, Spartan called me and said they're opening up the stadium series for more money. So yeah, I'll go do that. Like,
yeah, I kind of after the games in 2018, like that was so awesome to experience that, but they changed the rule. They made it really hard, like a lot, even more difficult to qualify. And I know I'm not an individual games athlete, so for the teams, they did a bunch of changes. You have to qualify for these sanctional events and then come in first place at a sanctional event to go to the game. So I kind of like, once those changes were there, and I was finishing grad school that year, so I was like, you know what, like that's not. I don't want to put in all my training effort to try to get to the games. Like that just wasn't my headspace. So I was just like, well, maybe it's time to get back in obstacle racing. And I decided to try the stadium series and stuff. So I don't think Hyrox is for CrossFit Games athletes. There's too much running for a CrossFit Games athlete to do well in it, honestly. Like if you take someone who's training 100% for the CrossFit Games, they are usually bigger guys and girls carrying a lot of muscle mass. They're not like, it's 5 miles of running. I like Faye and Imka were so fast. Like I remember Faye passed me at one point and I was like, holy shit, like she's flying. And like, so I know that I've been doing quite a bit of running in my training, nowhere near as fast or as long as like Faye or Imka, but I still have a chance because I do train for running, and I have an advantage on them over the workout sections. But you take a CrossFitter, I don't know how much time they can make up in like a pure CrossFitter to get like a CrossFit.
Wait a minute, how much total running is it?
It's 8,000 meters, so it's about 5. It's an 8K, so isn't that 4.9 miles?
Yeah, I didn't even realize it was that much. That is a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot. Like it was a lot of running. So I mean.
Well, then Bracken, if you're listening, you should be even more embarrassed. You didn't do better. How did Bracken do? Let's look at unofficial results.
Bracken did.
Let's see.
Bracken was 11.
Bracken got beat by my buddy Jack Bauer and Dylan Maragliola and Michael Holland, who I don't even know. I don't even know that guy. Who's that guy?
So Bracken was running for a total of almost 32 minutes, 31:58.
And did you hear that Jack had a porta potty break? Did you hear this?
No, I didn't.
He legit went number 2 in the middle of the race. He told me. Is that nuts?
Was there even a porta potty on the thing, or did he go out?
He figured it out. I don't know.
Good for him.
But I didn't know there was that much running. That is a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. So that's why it's like.
I thought it was like a 5K or something of running. That's a shitload of running.
It's a lot.
It's way more. That changes
so
everything.
They're not gonna get games athletes who are training.
I should read press releases more detailed, because I honestly had no idea it was that much running.
Yeah.
Well, so then if you are not going to focus on then what are you going to do, Corinna?
Yeah.
What are you 30 now?
I'm 26.
What?
I know. Is that
how old were you when I met you?
I was like 20 when I did the the Spartan Race World Championship in 2014. I was 20.
When you were 3rd that year?
2nd. Dang.
What about Battle Frog?
Yeah, I started that my senior year of college. So I think I was 21. Yeah, I was 21.
Corinna, I had no idea you were that young.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I keep thinking I'm getting old because I'm turning 27 this year. Like old for being 20, for in your 20s. So I, obviously I'm focusing on, my dietitian and nutrition services and company, and we're actually about to launch with Yancy a OCR. I think I told you OCR nutrition service for people. So I'm excited about that, and we'll probably be launching in about a week or two. And these races are awesome, and I'm still training hard, and I have the flexibility in my schedule to still focus on training, but it's definitely not like my everything right now, which is nice. It's nice to be able to race, have a good time, and then if things don't go so well, it's like it's not the end of the world. It's not like what I'm banking on for my livelihood. So I'm enjoying the stadium series. I'll finish those out. Boston and San Fran next month, and I'd like to try another Hyrox.
So I'm looking at our announcement from February, and there was Citi Field and Nationals Park and Dallas. Did you do all those?
I did. Yes, I did everyone except the first one.
So then you can't win this. So then you can't win the series, can you?
I can't win. I didn't do the math because I'm really not a math person, but I think I can still finish like top 4. Like so Orla, because Orla's injured too, like I think she would have taken first if she was, let's say she podiumed at the next 2 races. I think she would have still been in first. So I have 2 first places in this. If you want to do the math for me, that would be awesome. But maybe you and Jack Bauer can do that.
Well, it certainly would be nice if like you just Googled Spartan Stadium Series and like the standings would come up, but of course they don't. Like you have to go 12 things deep into Spartan to even figure it out.
Yeah, honestly, I had the hardest time finding that. But
and you're an athlete in it and a Spartan pro.
Oh yeah, I was like, I think I found it one time and I was like, cool, so I had to miss the first race. I don't know how well if I win, let's say I win the next 2.
All right, so here we go. I don't think you can sort it. You can't even sort it by can you sort it by female? There we go. Okay, female. So it says Orla, Laura, Cody. I thought that was a man. Cody is a woman?
What's her last name?
Cody Mezebish. Sorry, Cody, if you're a female, please don't kill me.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know.
God, you're 8th right now. You're horrible at this.
Well, shit.
I'm sorry. Orla, Laura Cummings.
Oh yeah, that makes more sense.
Cody Mezebish. God, Cody, please don't kill me. Cassandra Oman.
Yeah.
Kelly Sully. Marissa Estep. Evelyn Ruiz. She's one of those twins. And then you.
Oh. Well, I think that could change, obviously with having the next 2. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what that was.
Okay, so here's the deal. 300 and 264 is the points. The only is AT&T, is the San Francisco one a points one now or just a regular one?
Yeah, Boston and San Fran are the last 2.
Okay. All right. So
it's Anaheim or no?
If you won them both, okay. If you won them both, that's 600 plus 564. What is that? 1164.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're going to have to do Laura. Laura and Cody. Cody has to be female. Please don't kill me. Let's just assume she is. I'm going to guess that.
Let's say they take second and third.
Yeah, but it looks like it's possible.
To do what? To get
for you to make the podium.
Oh.
Jack will definitely have to figure out. But
yeah, Jack. This is a Jack case.
Right, but okay. So here's the deal: Laura, 6th, 3rd, 4th. Cody, 2nd, 8th, 7th. So yeah, if you
got 1, 1, 1, 1, and then no race, I think Spartan made it so that you yes, it's better to go to all 5, but I think you can still do well if you make 4.
Right. Okay. So, I mean, you could also just wait till they keep making up events that you're good at. Like TMX came out of nowhere, Hyrox came out of nowhere. Right.
I know. So that's why it's like, I mean, everyone asked me what my plan is for next year, and that's kind of the beauty of not having this as my job, is that it's, like I said, there's always things coming up that are kind of this hybrid between CrossFit and OCR. And so it seems like that's a space that's getting more and more, targeted or populated. So it's exciting that every year there's been something.
Okay, real talk, Corinna. You ready? Real talk.
Okay. Oh God. Okay.
Do you think you could have beat Emma in that second TMX year if you like trained specifically more for that?
I don't know. She was so fast. She was not only fast. It would have been interesting to see what our splits were, but Emma was fast and she had no problem with obstacles, no problem with the workouts. I had some problems with not problems, but no problems with the obstacles, but the workouts were hard. Like those sandbag cleans and it's just started getting heavy. And we raced 3 times that day. So, but I mean, she did too. I don't think I would have beat her. She was way ahead.
Really?
Yeah. She had a decent lead. Cassidy and I were neck and neck at the sandbags for second and third, but Emma was.
I was flipping through YouTube recently, and Tough Mudder has a bunch of shows that I didn't even know they had. There was a recap video that wasn't like the show that we did. It was a separate one, and it's mostly Eric's commentary. And I remember in Miami, him screaming a lot, and I watched it back and he's screaming even more. And it's nuts to watch. You would think we were watching, I don't know, the 7th game in the World Series. He was you got to go back and see it. It was oh my God.
Wait, was this for the Miami?
This is the Miami one. The Miami.
Yeah. And you were doing it together, right?
Right. But he was going especially nuts. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I remember watching it. I think I watched it.
Right. So you won that one.
Yeah.
That was the one that, what's her name?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. She's a little bit older, but she's a CrossFit Games athlete.
Who? What am I going to say? You don't know what I'm going to say.
Yeah, that was the one that CrossFit Games athlete girl. Her name was.
What do you know what I'm going to say?
Okay, sorry.
Sorry, I'm looking at 3 things. I was saying that was you and Orla and Cassidy, but there was another girl, brand new girl, that was their friend that was going to be
Sarah Harrison.
Sarah,
that was college with her. Yeah.
Was she on your team at Battle Frog?
No, she was a year too younger than me. But yeah, we met at Virginia Tech, so that was kind of cool. I was
she would have been on the podium if she didn't fall off.
I know.
Funky Monkey.
She just struggles with running. But she seems to be working on it.
No, but she fell off that. If she didn't fall off that, she would have been on the podium.
Oh yeah. She would have been second, right? And then Orla would have been third, and then Cassie would have been fourth.
Right.
Yeah, I know. She was good. She might do good she might be someone that should do Hyrox.
All right. So you're at this point, are you in or out for New York?
I'd like to be in. Again, it's I would like to, I say that because it's airfare is crazy expensive. It's I have to take that all into account. It's not like I'm getting flown out to these things. But I would like to be in for Hyrox. I think
I think I saw that Alex was there. Did Cassidy not want to do it?
Well, she's pregnant.
Oh, did I know that?
She had it on her story. She had the gender reveal. So she's, yeah.
Please don't ever do a gender reveal, Corinna. I'm sorry.
I have no plans on doing that.
Okay.
So at least definitely no time soon.
I know you're a fucking millennial, but just don't do it. You're not even a millennial. You're younger than that, right? You're something else probably, right?
I don't count myself. Well, yeah, I guess I should. I don't know, 93?
Whatever that is. All right. Well, maybe you can stay with them in New York, save on hotel. I don't know.
Yeah. I have family around. So yeah, I think I would like to be there. I definitely want to redeem myself. I feel honestly, I don't know that I would have caught up to Imka in all seriousness. But like I said, Lauren Weeks in second place, she was ahead of me, but when we got to the sled push, but I don't know that her run, she's just a pretty pure CrossFitter. I don't know how much running she's really been doing. So I feel like had I not effed up in the sled push, I could have caught her. And I'd like to think that, I could have maybe snagged second place in that. So
how did she do in TMX? Didn't she come to TMX?
Yeah, I think she came in fourth. I think that's what Yancey was saying. Or she did she was like close to the podium at one of the TMXs. I don't know if it was the most recent one or the first one. But she's a good CrossFitter. Yeah,
she was fourth. Emma, you, Cassidy, Lance McWhorter, Lauren, Cassidy.
Okay.
All right. Well, listen, good catching up.
Yes.
And we will talk soon.
Sounds good. Yes, I will. Hopefully, if you go to New York and I'm in New York, I'll see you there. Will you be in Boston?
Let's do a quick screenshot. Hang on.
Okay.
I will not be in Boston. It's always right around World's Toughest.
Oh, right. Okay.
I'm like crazy the week of World's Toughest. And so, so yeah, I can't be gone 2 weeks in a row. But I am from Boston, and I want to run Fenway one of these days. So one of these years I will. But okay. All right. Talk to you soon, dude.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks, Matt.
See you. Bye.